Scraps started almost 7 years ago. When we started, our target customer base was just apartments and condos, so multifamily units in downtown Denver. And since then, we've expanded significantly, both in terms of our geographic area and our customer type. So now our main customer is commercial businesses, from mom and pop local coffee shops to Starbucks, other corporate restaurant chains like Chick-fil-A, Sweetgreen, and Snooze, all of which we have through Rubicon, which has been huge.
Everyone is super happy that they have the option to compost. So us being a private hauler that provides composting services for many municipalities throughout the Front Range and all different types of service levels, from a single family home to a 500 unit apartment building, a lot of members are really happy that they have the option to compost.
Our restaurant customers, I think it's a really easy win. Restaurant waste tends to be primarily compostable, and you can offset your trash bill if you're composting aggressively and you work with your trash hauling company to reduce your trash service. It's something that restaurant ownership and management likes to see, that customers like to see at restaurants. For some of our larger office buildings and corporate customers, there are corporate responsibility goals, sometimes that come out of headquarters in states like California, where it already is mandatory, so it just kind of makes sense for them to extend it to their national portfolio. Infused through it all is this sense of it's the right thing to do, even if it's not mandatory yet, even if it might cost a little more. There are adjustments that can be made in almost any budget to make some space for diverting your waste as opposed to just sending it to landfill.
Working with our members directly on what can and cannot be put in the compost bin is the main focus of what we've been dealing with recently. In terms of our commercial members, we do a required training session where I go in and really try to talk about the basics of composting all the way to what we can and cannot accept. I think it's important because not a lot of people are familiar with composting. So trying to touch base on all different levels of why it's good for the environment, why it can be good for your soil, for the health of your plants, for the land here in Colorado. So the more material that can be composted and the less landfills that can be built, just trying to connect with all different types of people on all different levels.
I have no idea how we could have broken into a market like Starbucks, Sweetgreen, or Chick-fil-A without partnership with Rubicon. For a company of our size, we've been able to communicate with the Rubicon team the challenges of ordering hundreds of toters in anticipation of signing on dozens of new customers. But we've been able to have that open communication to help us to be a player in this market. I started Scraps really to prove the point that if we think outside the box in terms of our collections and operations, we can service an underserved market, a market that was largely considered unserviceable. Over time, we grew into a truck-based hauler with large trucks, heavy trucks, complex operations, and 5-6 day a week service. No one stops making trash.
As the years go on, we're doubling our diversion rate. And a lot of our Rubicon members have a lot to do with that, with the amount of material they've been diverting. So I think it's really cool, especially when we pass these numbers off to our members. It really hits home that okay, we're not just throwing our material in a different bin, we're actually making a difference.